Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Temple Israel. You guys are sitting on the wrong side. It's going to mess with me, but this is good. Sometimes we need to sort of rearrange ourselves so that we can get a Shabbat experience that isn't stale. So we're going to start tonight with a song some of you have heard before. Rob is going to teach it, and then we'll hear it again later in the service. But this is a good theme song for tonight. It's called "I Have a Voice."
So the chorus is, it's very easy. I shouldn't say that because it might not be easy for everybody. But let's sing through it a few times, and I think that you'll get it pretty quickly. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Let's see if everybody can do that. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Next part goes like this. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Your turn. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Next part goes like this. Change the world. Your turn. Change the world. Okay, let's do it. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. I have a voice. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world.
Beautiful.
It'll come back.
So we're going to start our service this evening, as we always do, by our Shabbat blessings. And tonight, these blessings are in honor of the amazing Benot Mitzvah that we're going to have tomorrow for Samantha and Olivia Goldenberg. So I would love to invite the two of them and their parents and their brother Jack to come on up and help us. And they're going to help with the lighting of the Shabbat candles, which can be found in the beginning of your prayer books on page 2. All right, here's the challenge, is working the lighter.
Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
We're going to call in the Shabbat angels on page 24 with the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachi l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's so many different ways that we try to set a real boundary between the week that was and this time when we are given just to be able to relax and be together and enjoy Shabbat. And I will say that even for me, it is sometimes so hard to be able to turn off that week and just be in this new sacred space. So we have different prayers that are supposed to help us just get into that moment. One of them is a few pages prior on page 20. It's Lecha Dodi, and this is supposed to remind us that just as it can be so beautiful to be at a wedding and see a bride walking down the aisle, that so too Shabbat should be that kind of experience where you just have this moment that makes you say, this is different and this is beautiful.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat, Nekabela. Shamo וזכור בדיבורך השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי Likat kala, panei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha dodi, likat kala, panei Shabbat, nekabela. Boi v'shalom, עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likat kala panei Shabbat nekabela.
On page 29, there is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nevarech, let us bless. And we rise together on page 28 for the call to worship.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
On page 31, we read together in the bottom in the English. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And we join in words of Shema.
Shema
Shema
Yisrael,
Yisrael
Adonai,
Adonai
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu
Adonai,
Adonai
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu
Adonai, Echad, Baruch, Shem Kivod,
Shem Kivod,
Shem Kivod,
Shem Kivod,
Malchuto,
Malchuto,
Shem Kivod,
Shem Kivod,
Malchuto,
Malchuto,
Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavtam et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shokpacha uv'kumecha u'kshartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu la'totafot bein einecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, מי כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, יאי לי לי, יאי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי.
Michamocha is the prayer that we offer to God for the gift of our freedom. We follow it in the evening with words of Hashkivenu, asking God that wherever freedom takes us, that we are covered with a shelter of peace wherever we may go. And so we sing those words of Hashkivenu, and let there be love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leShalom, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leShalom. V'hamidenu, Shomreinu l'chaim, Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leShalom. And understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Be our shelter from life's storms. Be our shelter from life's storms.
On page 46, I invite you now to rise. Thank you, Joshi, and we'll join in words of tefillah. Adonai sifetai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, V'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia. Mechakel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'ofech olim. Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech mimitz, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakom, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Please be seated, and we'll join now on page 60 and offer a prayer for peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim La'olam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. אתה הוא מלך אדום לכל השלום. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. So we're going to turn our hearts and our thoughts now to those who are in need of healing. And if you'll forgive me, we're going to do a different healing prayer tonight. But this one is a beautiful one that uses the actual words that Moses said for his sister Miriam when she fell ill. It says, El na rafa na la. God, heal her, please.
Dear God of our ancestors,
join me. Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
Help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our mind.
Help clarify our mind.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our light.
Rejuvenate our light.
El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu.
So if there's someone you're thinking of who could use healing prayers at this time and you'd like to share their names, you're welcome to do so now. So we're thinking too of Lisi Weinstein and of Arlene Alper. Drew, we're thinking of you and of Emmett and for all those that need our healing prayers.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our days and nights,
Throughout our days and nights,
we celebrate the journey.
we celebrate the journey.
This precious gift of life.
This precious gift of life.
El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. One more time. El na Rafana la, Rafana la nu. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So tonight, here at TI and at many Jewish congregations throughout the world, we are celebrating Repro Shabbat. Now, Nancy, now that you are the president of NCJW, I would like to put in a formal complaint that I would like the name of this Shabbat changed, but even though I don't like the name, it is a very important time for us to be able to gather together, because this is the night when all different congregations focus on Judaism's approach to reproductive health, rights, and justice. Now, I should say that sometimes people will ask, well, how is it as a congregation that you choose what are the issues that you are going to stand up and say something about? Because after all, we are a very large congregation. We clearly don't all think and vote the same way. And I will say that as a whole, we tend to stand up for issues where someone out there is trying to make a point using religion or using the Bible as their proof. And we sort of feel like that's kind of our business. So if you're going to use the Bible, you may as well use it correctly, and we're going to show you how to do it. So we do this every year whenever we read this particular Torah portion, Mishpatim. And for many years now, we've honored Repro Shabbats, and I've given different Divrei Torah over the years all about reproductive justice and talking about the Torah portion and how it connects. But this year, of course, now that the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, it feels a little bit different. It feels like maybe we need to have a different approach in what I share with those of you who are here and those of you who are watching from home. So I thought that instead of just talking about the Torah portion tonight, what I would really talk to you about is the idea of law and what Judaism thinks about laws that maybe aren't quite what we need them to be. And this is a great time, actually, to be talking about law in Judaism because this week's Torah portion, Mishpatim, means the laws. And it follows up with last week's Torah portion where we got like the biggest laws of all, the 10 Commandments. You've heard of these 10 Commandments before? Yes? Yeah, okay. Just, you guys were a little quiet, just making sure. Yeah, so the 10 Commandments, even if you don't know all of them, you probably know most of them. Honor your parents. Don't murder, don't steal, have a full day of rest. All of these teachings that seem like they would be very obvious, important, big teachings that any society should try to build themselves around. But you also know that when you look at those big commandments, that they're actually not quite as simple as they seem. You know, it says don't kill, but then the question is it don't kill or is it don't murder? And if it's don't murder, you know, can you murder an animal? What if someone is trying to kill you? Does self-defense count? What if you were killing someone in a time of war? Nothing's that easy. Even the idea of honoring your parents, which sounds sort of simple, but really isn't, because what does it mean to honor someone? Does it mean to do whatever your parents say? What if your parents ask you to do things that are not particularly honorable? What if your parents disagree with each other? What if you are an orphan and you don't have parents? Those 10 Commandments, they aren't really all that clear, and so we need a lot of laws to help explain them, and that's what we get in this week's Torah portion that Samantha and Olivia are going to talk about in their Banot Mitzvah tomorrow. And as we found when we were studying together, there are a lot of laws in this Torah portion, and they're really kind of totally random because there's one that's like, if there is a sorceress, you shouldn't trust her. And then there's another one about what to do with if you have extra plants that are growing in your field. And there's another one about what happens to do if someone loses their animal. There are all of these really, really different laws, all sort of smushed together in one Torah portion. One of them, though, of course, which is why we celebrate Repro Shabbat at this time, it's actually kind of two laws that connect. First, there's one that you probably heard about before and that the girls are going to talk about tomorrow that says that when there's some sort of a harmful act done against a person, that the way that you should mete out justice and punishment is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life, to make sure that the punishment is truly equal. But then right next to that line, there is this example of what happens if someone is fighting and they push a pregnant woman and she falls down and loses her pregnancy. And it says that if that happens, that the person who pushed her owes her husband some money. And so from that, we glean that the Torah did not consider the pregnancy to actually be a life. So that's where we get a lot of our sort of ideas about reproductive justice in Judaism, is from that little line. But I also just want to say something that we don't usually talk about when we share this Torah portion, is that even though that teaching is important to us and what it says to us about when we as Jews believe that life begins, that doesn't mean that it's a terribly nice teaching, right? This idea that this pregnant woman is pushed down, and what is the thing they say? Someone's got to give her husband some money. Right? I mean, like, it's, you know, if not downright misogynistic, it's not terribly nice to women, this text. It doesn't say anything about, well, what should the woman get? Or is she hurt at all? Or are there any sorts of problems that we should be dealing with this woman? It's not a very nice teaching, even though it is helpful when we talk about this. And because of that, it should be a reminder to us that sometimes there are teachings sometimes there are laws that even if they're in the Torah, that even if they are in the Constitution, sometimes there are laws that still don't totally make sense. Just because something is a law doesn't always mean it feels right. So what's interesting is that there is, based on this Torah portion, in the Mishnah, there's something called a Baraita. You all have heard me talk before about a midrash, right? So a midrash is something that explains something in the Torah that doesn't make sense. A Baraita is something that explains something in the Mishnah that doesn't make sense. So there's a Baraita on this Torah portion, and it tells a story. And it says that a bunch of rabbis are talking, and they're talking about whether or not this particular kind of oven is kosher. The argument is kind of stupid, so that's not the key part of this. But they're having this argument, and there's this one rabbi whose name is Rab Eliezer, and he knows that this oven is kosher. And the law is on his side. And he is able to make this incredible proof, and he has this law and this law and this law, and he proves this oven is kosher, and all of these other rabbis are like, yeah, the law agrees with you, but it's not true. And he gets really frustrated, and he's like, okay, I know that the law is on my side, this oven is kosher, and if I am right, that tree over there is gonna prove it. And lo and behold, the tree gets up on its roots and moves. Still the other rabbis are like, nah, we don't believe it. So he says, okay, I know the law is on my side. If it's really on my side, that stream will prove it to me. And the stream is going this way, and then all of a sudden, burp, it starts flowing the other way. Still, they don't believe it. So Rabbi Eliezer is getting really frustrated. He's like, if I am right and the law is on my side, the walls of this building are going to tumble down. And this is actually a sort of funny part of it, because one of the other rabbis is like, walls, don't do it. And so the walls are like, and they sort of lean like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but they don't actually fall down. So now Rabbi Eliezer, he's so frustrated, and he says, if I am right and the law is with me, the heavens will prove it to me. And out from the heavens comes a bat kol that's supposed to be this like beautiful voice of God. And so this voice from God comes down, and it says, Rav Eliezer is correct, the law is on his side. And you know what the rabbis say? They say, hey God, enough of you. You're not allowed to be in this argument. You gave us the Torah, you gave us the laws, but you left it up to us to interpret them. And to say that sometimes, if the majority agrees and believes that the laws are no longer right, they're no longer right. And they win the argument. There's a little end to the story that says that later on, one of the rabbis dies, and he goes to heaven, and he meets Elijah the prophet, and he's like, hey, Elijah, so great to see you. And he says, hey, Elijah, remember that one time when I was alive, and we were arguing with Rabbi Eliezer? I mean, it's like such a ridiculous story, but it's in the Mishnah, written in 200 CE. He's like, remember that one time we were arguing about that oven, and it was so crazy, and we won the argument. What did God do? And he said, when God heard that, he smiled. He smiled and he laughed and he said, my children have defeated me. They figured it out. Because even God knew that God's own laws that God wrote for us still sometimes have to be changed. That sometimes even the laws are not right for us. Now, I'm not telling you that we should be living in anarchy, right? Like, follow the laws, Jack, follow the laws. It's still very important to be able to do what our government says and what Judaism says, but sometimes it is still important to look at what the majority of people believe and say, and we still have a voice. We still have a voice, and we can make change. And just because the laws and all the rules may say one thing, it doesn't mean that we don't still have the power to make a difference, because sometimes it should still be a little bit more up to us.
I will open my eyes, I will not look away. I will use this gift I've been given every day. I will give of myself, I will reach out my hand. I will use this voice I've been given to take a stand. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam she'asanu b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam she'asanu b'tselem Elohim. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. I will fight for the truth. I'll stand up for what's right. I will use this strength I've been given to be alive. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice, my voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world.
I'll invite you now to rise on page 282, and we'll join together in the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. And so we recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on the Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the wall of honor for a perpetual memorial. Morris Baker, Elliot Bender, Samuel Bender, Maurice Benson, Irvin Bettman Jr., Herman Bernard Bloom, Shirley Broderson, Anna Lee Brown, Dr. Norman Ward Klein, Jack Daniel, Anna Davis, Joseph B. Diamond, Irvin Dubinsky, Mary Fadum Ephron, Captain Wallace N. Emmer, who died in the service of our country, Stanley B. Feldman, Greg Fox, Selena Freilich, Rose Fry, Marilyn Mendelsohn Feudenberg, Rose Gilbert, Evelyn Goldberg, Arthur Goldstein, Leah Gross, Fanny Guggenheim, Sigmund Gustorf, Simon Ablies Harris, Otto Hirsch, Jason Cowan, Adolphus Klauber, Karen Knopf, Joseph Leonard Kohner, Jeffrey Samuel Kottman, Molly Guggenheim Landauer, Adele Litz, Julius Mannheimer, Harold Marglis, Fritz Marks, Chaim Niken, David Portman, Armin Price, Ina Rainey, Nathan Rosenberg, Arthur Rosenfeld, Jane Sheff, Martha Schneider, Bertha Schoen, Leon Schwab Jr., Sarah Levy Shanblum, Sylvia Schanfeld, Joseph Scharf, Frank S. Schuck, Isidore Siegfried, Nat Singer, Sarah Pattis Smithman, Dorothy Lowenberg Stein, Harriet Trepner, Carrie Vetzberg, David Wagner, Maurice Weil, and Barry Wilson. So with these names and the names we keep in our hearts, we join together in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabba, ba'alma divarach hirute v'yamlich machute, b'chayachon uvyamechon uv'chayed achol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv emru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mavarach la'alam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Please be seated. So along the lines of thinking that our voice can change the world, I know that sometimes that it feels like we need to do something more than speak and something more than vote. And so following services tonight, I want to be able to give you an opportunity that I hope will help make you feel like you can make a difference. And also is a reminder to our B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow, but to all the kids who are here today of just how much your voice can impact us. So back in August, we had a bar mitzvah who during his Devar Torah talked about diapers, which sounds like a funny thing to talk about at your bar mitzvah. But he talked about this idea that very few of us think about the fact that diapers are one of the items that you cannot pay for with food stamps. So if you don't have enough money to buy diapers, then it may be that a parent who has a child is not able to get that baby diapers or enough diapers. And that means that the baby is going to sit there and that baby is going to cry. And maybe that crying baby will make it that much harder for that child's parents to parent the baby or to do a good job. And it can just cause this terrible chain reaction that just increases the amount of poverty and suffering and sadness in our world that could actually just be fixed through diapers. So tonight, following our service, the St. Louis Diaper Bank is here, and we invite you. There is a little mitzvah project. It's actually super fun, and Jerica from the St. Louis Diaper Bank is going to be here to explain it to you. We also have Nancy Litz, who is here from NCJW, who can talk to you about some of the amazing work that NCJW also does to be able to help us with issues like not only reproductive justice, but maternal health and so many of the problems that are really plaguing our society today that actually we can fix. And it's not just about raising our voice, it's also about letting our hands do the work. So I hope that you'll stay after for just a few moments and help us with that mitzvah project. And we're going to do one last song that is just an inspiration to remind all of us that the works of our hands as people and as a nation can really make a difference. On page 341, it's Lo Yisagoy.
Lo yisagoy el goy cherem Sagoy Elgoy Cherem Velo Yemedu On Milchama Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. No one should learn war anymore. Lo yisagoy el goy ferem velo yemedu on milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherem velo yemedu od milchama.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.